Indiana basketball filled its final roster spot with a center out of the transfer portal, and I think he's more helpful than people are giving him credit for.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. A reminder that we are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Well, thank you again so much for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers who have been showing up each and every day this summer as we're getting into all of the fantastic seasons. I appreciate you, and you're the reason this podcast does so well. Audio and video, thank you all so much. Well, Indiana basketball announced that they have filled their final roster spot. The 13th scholarship has been given out, or I guess the 13th roster spot has been given out, and you were a little surprised, I'm sure, kind of like I was. I had not really heard a whole lot about this as of late. We had sort of given up on this idea that the Hoosiers were going to fill it. I had said a while back that I didn't really care. I wasn't concerned about it. I wasn't overly worried about what this roster spot would become. And then all of a sudden, here comes Dallas James, a South Carolina State transfer who has joined and picked up the final scholarship, the final roster spot, the 13th and final for this Indiana program. 7 foot tall, 200 pounds, and it's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. Now, if you run and scramble and type in Dallas James on Google and you look his numbers up, no, his career numbers are not good. They're not anything. They're not anything to look at, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, okay? In his 70 career games, he averaged 1.5 points, 2 rebounds, and almost a block per game. Shot 56% from the field and 51% at the free throw line, right? You look at the stats and you say, Jacob, why the heck did we go get this guy? What is he going to bring to this team? And I've already seen the slander about him and the fact that there are people who are questioning why Mike Woodson brought him in. And it's a fair question to ask, right? It's okay. Who is this guy? He has no credible stats. Why are we bringing him in? Well, as I said at the forefront, there was a time where we just didn't even think this roster spot was going to be filled. We didn't even think it was going to be an issue or a problem. And then all of a sudden, you bring in a 7-foot center. I think he's more helpful than people are giving him credit for because I want you to look at our roster right now. Okay, I want you to look at the roster. I've got it pulled up here. You have, of course, Oumar Ballo at your starting center. You have Langdon Hatton, who is listed as a center at 6'10", and now you have Dallas James as a center as well. And there are people who could consider maybe Malik Renew could play at the center if you had to. I don't want to. You could, if you had to, maybe put Mackenzie and Mbako down there. Luke Goody, if you are really in a jam. But that's where I'm getting at here is you're one big injury away if you're Indiana from a lot of this being a wrench being thrown in this plan, right? Because we all believe, and if you listen to the show, you know I believe this. My everydayers know I believe in this roster. This is a really, really good team. But God forbid, what happens if Oumar Ballo goes down? What happens if he goes down? Then you're having to slide a Luke Goody in there or move forwards around a Malik Renew down there. You're having to scramble. And then your depth becomes less than what it is because your forwards are unbelievable, right? Malik, Bryson Tucker, the freshman. Don't forget about him. Goody, mention him. Mbako. Like, you've got guys that can move around in there. But I think what Dallas James can bring from South Carolina State is just a little depth. And honestly, just a little more confidence on this roster. No, his stats may not be great, but the dude's played a ton of basketball. He's played like 5 years of college basketball. He knows what he's doing, and he can bring that. And if anything, He's a punching bag for Oumar Ballo. And I say that in the nicest way possible. I really do. He is a stand in the way frustration guy in practice for Oumar Ballo who will make him better. That's what Dallas James is bringing to this roster. I've seen some people who have said they wish that Indiana would have gone and gotten another guard just because you can't ever have enough guards. I get that. And you know what? I would have been fine with that too, to be honest with you. I love our guards now. I do. I like what we have between, of course, Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle. You're still going to have Cups and Leal back behind. Ja'Kai Newton, not getting great updates on that. Just going to let you know, not great updates happening with him right now. So maybe it was smart to go get another guard since that has not been progressing the way that we want it to. I don't know. I guess hindsight's 2020, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I like Dallas James. I do. I just think, if anything, he's going to be a depth piece in there, a really good practice piece. And if all goes to hell, you've got somebody as a 7-foot-tall man that you can plug in and at least eat a couple minutes if you absolutely have to. Do I think he sees the floor this season? Probably not. But he's there in case you need him. And I don't think he deserves any of the crap that he's gotten so far. Like, look, I get it. The guy averaged a point a game in his career. I understand, but he's just there to fill the roster spot. He's there to make the team better. And hopefully, I guess not hopefully, but if you have to, he's there if you got to use him. But you've got now 2 7-footers on your roster. I don't care if they play or not. That's awesome. You got 2 7-footers down there. Plus, you still have Langdon, Hatton. Plus, you still have Luke Goody if you need him, right? If you need those guys to slide down. I just am concerned with injuries because what happens if Miles Rice goes down? And I don't want this to happen. I'm just playing the what-if game here. What if Miles Rice goes down? All right, well, Cannon Carlisle probably slides up, and then you bring in Trey Galloway on the 2, unless you want to bring in Gabe Cups there. I don't know if you do. I'm just saying that this team, while we have a lot of good players, injuries could be a problem, especially with the bigger guys. But that's why you go fill that last 13th roster spot, 13th scholarship, and you go get the South Carolina State 7-foot, 200-pound center, Dallas James. Well, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, it's a big week because fall camp is here. Yes, fall camp has started for Indiana football. What can we expect? What are we looking for going into this? Curt Cignetti has lit up the world so far, and we haven't even touched grass yet. What can we expect from this Indiana football team going into fall camp this week? We'll have that for you coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. You can pick out any game that you want, right? Get on there, and they're going to have zone deals. Sometimes they'll have like random flash deals. And my favorite part is you can get on there, whatever venue you're at, whatever event that it is, you can pick your seat and you can see your view from your seat before you buy. And it's accurate. I'm telling you from personal experience, it is accurate and it's awesome. And I love that part about the Game Time app. I use it all the time now. Every ticket I've bought since I joined Locked On, I've used Game Time. I haven't gone anywhere else because they've always taken care of me, and it's always been exactly what I paid for. And one of my other favorite parts, too, if you toggle this feature, all-in pricing, it's going to show you your total upfront, no surprise fees, none of that. You're going to know exactly what you're paying for before you get to the final checkout screen. Take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is also brought to you by Factor Meals. Warmer, sunnier days are calling, so fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. And no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. I've told you this week, I've got mine in the mail, right? I've got mine on the way. I think they'll be here maybe over the weekend or early next week. And I can't wait because I've started a little calorie deficient diet, okay? Just trying to eat a little bit better. And this came at a perfect time. So I've got my Factor meals in the mail, and you can try it out right now with Locked On. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore, and you can treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. And right now is the best time to try it, okay? Head to factormeals.com/lockedoncollege50 and use that code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE50 at factormeals.com/lockedoncollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active with Factor Meals. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Again, I appreciate you being here. Shout out to all my everydayers, man. You guys are the best, and this community is growing. I see you, I hear you, and I do appreciate you. If you're on the YouTube side of things, be sure you like this video. Comment down below your thoughts on the new Portal Edition. What are you expecting for fall practice for Indiana football? Comment all of that down below. And be sure you hit our logo and subscribe to our channel. We continue to grow, and you are the reason for that. So thank you so much. And all of my audio listeners as well, be sure you do the same thing. Follow, subscribe, notify, however you got to do it, because this podcast is free every single day, audio and YouTube. So you may as well become an everydayer. Come back every day and make it your first listen each and every day. Well, fall camp gets underway for Indiana football, and man, I'm going to be honest, I'm super pumped. I am fired up about fall practice because Curt Cignetti he's lit a fire under me, man. He's a guy that I would want to play for, and he's a guy that I'm really excited to cover this season because, look, Indiana football last year was tough to watch at times. It was tough to cover at times, and now this year, it's a complete restart. It's a refresh, restart, wipe the slate clean, and let's see what happens. And I was telling you the other day that expectations, I don't think there are any. I really don't. I don't think there are I can tell you this right now. There are no expectations outside of Bloomington. I can promise you that. But we are picking up a little steam with some folks who are buying into the Curt Cignetti hype, buying into what he might be able to do here in Bloomington, which, yes, that's cool. Yes, I like it. They're finally starting to notice that we got a new head coach. But it is a little scary because now I think we're going to have more eyes on us than people realize. And for Curt Cignetti, that means, hey, you got to prove it. You got to show up. You got to do something that you're not supposed to do. Nobody's expecting 8 or 9 wins. Nobody's expecting winning the Big Ten or anything crazy like that. But I do think you have to do a few things. And my everydayers know this when I talked about this a few weeks ago, where looking at the schedule and looking at this updated roster that I think is much improved, man, it's still got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. And good news is you're getting quite a few guys back for this football team too. A lot of guys on the defensive side that Cignetti said is coming back. Look at James Carpenter, Jalen Walker, Linnell Carr Jr., Nick Kidwell. And they're all coming back from injury. They competed and were working out over the summer, so they'll be available this fall. This roster is already better than it was a year ago, but it's not where it needs to be to compete in the Big Ten, and I think we all know that. But what I'm getting at here is you've got to do something this year because, look, let's just be real. Cignetti's talked a big game. He's talked a really big game already. And you got to find a way to back it up somehow. And you're not winning championships this year. So the next best thing is to beat a team you're not supposed to beat. Whether that's on the road at UCLA week 3, whether that's, I don't know, you play Michigan and Ohio State. I don't know. Let's lob it up there and see what happens, right? But you get what I'm saying. Something like that has to happen this year because of the way Cignetti has talked and acted. And I love it, but you got to be able to back it up. And so with fall practice beginning, right, it's on. Football season's here. And there's no more time to mess around. There's no joking around. This is it, right? You've had the spring, you've had summer workouts, and now it's time for fall practice. Let's put on the helmets, let's put on the pads, and let's see who's ready to go right now. I think that's going to be really, really intriguing to find out on who's ready and who's not ready to play. And hopefully you have a lot more guys that are ready compared to not, because you have a massive group of these guys that came from James Madison with Coach Cignetti. And so you feel that a lot of those guys will be ready to go. They'll be prepared. They'll be in good shape. They'll have good mindsets. They'll know what's going on. You just feel that they will have an upper hand on some of the other guys on the team. And look, you start playing in a month. You start in a month, literally a month from now. You start the first game in college football, and we're going to get so many updates over the next few weeks. The quarterback battle that we mentioned the other day here on Locked On Hoosiers. Who is, what's the offensive line going to be like? Who are your playmakers on the outside other than some obvious ones? What does your defense look like? I just told you you're getting some guys back on that side of the ball, but who is a leader on that side? And I saw something the other day that said Cignetti's not going to name captains on this team, which I find interesting. But he says he's never named captains in his coaching career, which I didn't know that. But he said he's not naming captains, and he doesn't name captains because he said, I don't want to name somebody at the beginning of the season as a captain that turns out to not be any good or turns out to be not what we thought they were. And I thought that's really, really interesting because that's still a really high tradition. And Indiana's had that for a long, long time. And Cignetti said, nope, not doing it. We'll have leaders. We'll have guys that'll speak up, guys that will kind of kick off practice and things like that. But in terms of a captain, nah, we're not going to have that. So there we are again. There's another big change that Cignetti has stepped in and said, this is my program. I'm going to do it my way. And guess what? Like it or get out. And I'm here for it, man. I am absolutely here for it. And I continue to hear other people in the media and doing things like this that are starting to pay attention. They're starting to latch on to what's happening here in Bloomington. And let's just say it like it is. We got to give them something. We got to show them something. And if we start winning games, we were here before they were. Let's just claim that, okay? We were here before they were. We've gone through a lot of bad seasons, and it's time to get back to where we were. And we've had a couple of good years sprinkled in there, but it's time to get consistently good. And it starts right now in fall practice. So my things that I'm looking for quickly, Curtis Rourke, is he really the guy? Is he the one that's going to be the starter? And what does Tyler Cherry look like behind him? Does Taven Jackson look okay, right? Does he have a good mindset, even though he's probably not going to be the guy and heck, may not even be the number 2 guy by the end of the year? Defensively, we got to learn some names over there, man. We got to figure out some dudes. And what does the depth look like, particularly on the defensive line? We got some studs in the linebacker room, but on, behind them, behind those few starters, what do we got? And can we avoid the big plays defensively? Can our secondary corners and safeties, can they just stay in front? Can they just hold on? And we got to find somebody back there that's a vocal leader that can help move things around and make adjustments when needed. That's what I'm looking for this week and going in through this entire fall practice and fall camp, because again, we're a month away. We're a month away from the start of the college football season. And if things go the way I think they can for Indiana this year, don't count out a bowl game. Don't count out a bowl game. I'm just telling you, schedule-wise, we've got one of the easiest ones in the Big Ten. And in year one under Curt Cignetti, I say we try to take advantage of it. And all that starts right now with fall practice. Well, coming up in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, more updates from Paris for the Olympics. We still got Indiana Hoosiers competing going into today on Wednesday. Tons more there. We've got more medal counts to update you on. We've been doing this throughout this week because, look, the Olympics comes around once every 4 years. So I think it's cool, and especially since we have Indiana ties, we'll give you updates on that in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again for being here, my everydayers. You are appreciated. Okay, we've got updates from Paris and the Summer Olympics. Medal counts, more Hoosiers are in action, all that good stuff. And you looked at the updated list. This is updated live right now. So if you're watching this or listening to this, it could have changed a little bit, but heading into Wednesday morning, just to give you an idea, China is on top with 8 gold medals. They have 16 overall. Japan has 7 golds with 13 overall. France was 6 golds, and that's how these rankings are. It's by the gold medals, right? France has 6, tied with Great Britain. Both of them have 6 golds. France with 20 overall. Britain with 16 overall. Australia has 6 golds as well with 12 overall. Korea's got 5 golds, 11 overall. Then you have the United States. And yes, they're in 7th right now, but that's based off of gold medal counts. We have 4, does the United States. In overall medals, we have 27, which is 7 more than the next highest, which is France at 20. But the gold ones are the big ones. And right now, the United States is 4 golds behind China. We'll see if that is able to kind of change a little bit. I know we've got some we've got gymnastics. The team got one yesterday. Looks like fencing and a couple in swimming. So good news is there's still more swimming to be done, and you can catch some Indiana Hoosiers in action on this Wednesday and moving into the rest of the week as well. You've got you got water polo for the Canadians. That'll be going on Wednesday morning. Lily King will be swimming for the United States in the 200-meter breaststroke prelims. All right, so that's going to be getting going on Wednesday. You also have diving, Jessica Parado, who diving for the United States in the synchronized 10-meter. That stuff is crazy, man. When they start diving together, and you've got 2 of them that are doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. That's unbelievable to watch to me. And so there's an Indiana Hoosier that'll be diving for the United States. You also have some going on Wednesday, and I'll give you some for the rest of the week as well. You have a Lithuanian swimmer that's a Hoosier will be in the breaststroke prelims as well. And then from the Netherlands will be in that same one. Kai Van Westering will be there. Thursday, you've got Anna Peplowski will be swimming for the United States in the 4x2 meter freestyle. And then Friday, more swimming, more water polo, and then a bunch going on over the weekend was when track and field, all the running stuff gets going. And so we got some Hoosiers there. We've got great representation, man. Just look at what Saturday brings in terms of Hoosiers that are representing different countries. The British Virgin Islands, Egypt, Singapore, United States, Hungary, and Netherlands. That's just on Saturday, man. That's phenomenal. And Sunday, you've got more going on then and then into next week as well. Look, I love the Olympics, and I know this is a little bit different than what we normally do here on the show, but I think it's really, really cool to have Indiana ties. There's even more people that are representing the state of Indiana, which I think is really, really special because it comes around once every 4 years. And I told you that I like the Winter Olympics a little bit better than the Summer Olympics, but I still sit and watch as much of it as I can. So keep up with that. You've got Hoosiers competing in Paris. You've got the United States who they trail in golds, but they're killing in an overall medal count. So keep an eye on that. The 2024 Summer Olympics happening over in Paris. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again so much for being here. If you're on YouTube, all right, like this video and subscribe to our channel. I'll give you an updated count before we get out of here. All right, updated subscriber count on the YouTube channel, 2,730. So we are pushing towards 28, 29, and then 3,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. If you're not already, just do that for me. It's free, it's easy, and you become a part of this family. If you're on audio, follow us there. If you are able to turn on notifications for the podcast, be sure you do that as well. Look, we're free every day, so you may as well come and check us out, right? We're your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. If you're looking for your second listen of every day, because Locked On Hoosiers is, of course, your first listen, go check out Locked On College Basketball, okay? It's my guys Isaac and Andy. They do a fantastic job getting you ready for what basketball season is going to bring. They break down all the biggest storylines around college basketball. And if you're looking for more fall camp previews and more fall camp information around college football, go check out my guy Spencer at Locked On College Football. All right, type those two in. Go check them out. Make them your second and third listens every day, but always make Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, Hoosier fans. Until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.